All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, we'll get going in just about a second here. Just need to make myself the presenter, it looks like. Just give me 1 second. Alrighty. Alrighty. There we go. If you can hear my voice and see my screen, just say a quick yes, and then we'll get this show on the road here. We have a pretty exciting call for you today. All right, let's see here. All right, everyone can hear me. That's always a good sign. All right, guys. So on today's call, we have some pretty neat stuff here. I'll just get this done up here real quick. All right. So what we'll do on this call here, I'll actually kind of talk a bit about what kind of services you can sell, even if you're brand new, especially ones that you can sell with like Webfire and such. But more importantly, not only will I talk about that, I'll actually show it to you kind of hands-on, step by step, like what you could do from scratch. So if you're starting out from scratch with absolutely nothing, I'll show you an actual example that you can do live on this call. Like I'll start by basically doing a Google search. I'll walk through how to pick basically a target or like a prospect, what to say, what to email them or send them, and exactly what kind of service and stuff that you can offer, how to find the right guys to reach out to and contact, so on and so forth. So we've been asked by like a couple guys if we could do something like this. So we figured we'd roll out basically training specifically on this. And if this is a topic that's of interest to you, in our prior trainings, we have a handful of other recordings and stuff as well, where we basically talk about local businesses and different services and stuff to sell or market. But on this one, it will be kind of more of like a hands-on demo. But if you want even more info, again, feel free to check out those. So without further ado, we'll get this show on the road. So once again, I am Brian Kaz, joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. And this call again will be a hands-on demo of how to basically analyze and sell web services to businesses. Now, again, I don't care if you're brand new or if you're experienced. By the end of this call, you'll know enough where even if you're brand new and have never done anything like this, you'll be perfectly fine. And once again, welcome to these Marketing Wednesday calls. They're every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, which is right now, or basically a couple minutes ago. And we'll have either a live training call like this or like a Q&A call for all of our members. If you're here or you're registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area, usually within about a day of any of the calls under the training tab on the left side navigation bar. So you just click on training and then you click on the Wednesday calls and we'll have the most recent one at the very top. So this one you should see there by tomorrow, if not possibly later tonight, but for sure by tomorrow. And as always, if you want a chance to win $100 towards the end of this call, you'll get a chance. But first, you want to make sure to join our free Facebook group, which you can at getwebfire.com/FB group. And towards the end of this call, I'll give the instructions on how you can win $100 live today on the call. Now let's move on to our training for this week on our hands-on demo of analyzing and how to sell to a business. So here's an overview. We'll basically talk about how to analyze and sell web services to businesses. I'll do the hands-on demo. Then we'll move on to Q&A if you have any questions at all. And then we'll do the cash giveaway. So plenty of time where if there's any questions at all, feel free to ask those. And most of this call will be kind of like the hands-on demo stuff. So make sure to pay attention, especially to that. So selling web services to businesses can be one of the easiest ways of making money quickly online, and especially with Webfire, because it's one of the things where almost every business kind of needs at least one or more of these kinds of web services and stuff, usually a lot more than just one. And a lot of these can sell for premium prices. I mean, oftentimes we're actually talking, you know, hundreds to even like thousands of dollars a month for a single client. You know, obviously your mom and pop type place might be more in the hundreds of dollars a month, but the larger ones might be thousands of dollars a month. And one of the things that you want to be careful on is, you know, you don't want to sell, you know, you don't want to try to sell $1,000 a month service to a place that only makes like $1,000 a month. You'll have a very hard time, especially if they're selling cheap stuff. Like if they're selling like a $10 product, you'll have a hard time getting them like a good ROI where they'll feel that it's really worthwhile. Likewise, if you target basically businesses who have clients that are worth hundreds to even thousands of dollars, in some cases tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some cases even more, it's a much easier kind of thing for them to grasp and to see the ROI when they're like, gee, if I get better rankings or more of a social media presence or more leads or anything like that, if I just get one sale, I'm making a profit. In their mind, that's a super easy deal to basically agree to. Whereas if they're selling cheap stuff and they're like, well, gee, I break even after I sell 1,000 of those and I only sell 100 a month. So yeah, you need to really help me to make it worthwhile. That doesn't really, you know, kind of bode well. And what you'll find is oftentimes the work that you do is just as easy for like $1,000 a month client as it is for like a $50 client. So you want to make sure to kind of pick your battles wisely, and we'll talk a bit more about that when I do the hands-on demo part. And despite how lots of people tend to overthink how to do all this, it's actually much easier than you think. And I think part of the problem is people tend to overanalyze and basically overthink way too much rather than just taking action. Okay, you don't have to do everything perfectly. You know, we mess up and stuff all the time, and that's perfectly okay. But if you sit back and you try to overthink and you try to be a perfectionist, you'll get nowhere. And that's probably the quickest way to basically fail there. So because it's so easy to actually do, you know, the concept, I think a lot of people understand, but they just tend not to follow through on it well. So I'm going to show you kind of hands-on how easy it can all be. So again, I'm going to be doing a hands-on demo of exactly what you can do with all the steps. But first, I want to briefly list just a handful of web services that you can sell. And of course, there's more than just this right here. This is just a list. First and foremost, you can sell SEO, which obviously Webfire is a great tool to help basically automate a lot of that and to help you do a lot of that right there. Social media management is another kind of service that you can sell. And again, Webfire can help with that. It can even put your social media management on autopilot. And as far as like price-wise, for like an SEO, you can charge anywhere from, you know, I'd say, you know, $1,000 to $5,000 up front for like a one-time fee, or if it's ongoing, hundreds to probably up to like $1,000 per month for ongoing work for the right client. For social media management, at a minimum, I'd say shoot for at least a couple $100s a month, but you can work that up to a lot more. I mean, there's guys that charge, you know, $1,000 to $2,000 a month, and that's not even necessarily like a giant client. But you know, obviously more of a mom and pop one would be on the smaller end of like a couple hundred a month, but again, not that hard when you can actually do a lot of that work. And I'll show you how in like, again, 20 minutes a month time. Lead services and stuff, that's where you're helping them find leads. Again, there's tools and stuff inside of Webfire to help you with that. That's another great service that you can sell, especially to local businesses and stuff like that, because, you know, if they're, let's say, a chiropractor and you're finding people like, you know, in their local area that are in back pain that could really benefit, you know, they want to be aware of those leads right there. Facebook ad management is another one, and this is great if you basically took advantage of our recent deal on automated ads. You know, there's a lot of businesses out there that are trying to play around with Facebook ads, but they really don't know what they're doing in a lot of cases, and they're spending and wasting a lot of money. Where, you know, if they were to hire someone that knew what they were doing or had software to help them, you know, with that, they would have saved a fortune, and you could be, you know, basically a savior to them almost, and you know, help help them with that there. Because again, a lot of the local businesses, the marketing that they have to do isn't necessarily all that tough. It's just that they don't know what they're doing. They're focused on their business, and that's where it's good for you. You can also do general consulting and stuff too. You might think that you're not a pro, but I guarantee probably 99% of you know way more than the average business owner out there. Just because most of those guys don't even know what something like SEO means a lot of times. That they're like, oh, is that like where you pay Google? That's what they think, and it's like, well, no, that's not. It's not where you pay them. It's where you get ranked organically and get it for free. I've actually talked to several business owners in the past that thought the only way to rank was to pay Google. They didn't even know that you could organically rank. Okay, and these weren't dumb guys. Like these, if you met these guys, if you talked to them, you'd say, hey, these are basically average to smart guys. Yet in their eyes, they're like, oh, the only way to get listed there is to pay them, and they never knew that you could actually organically rank for free there. So you guys are way ahead of the curve there, more so than you probably think. And in the hands-on demo, I'll show you like a few easy things that you can do where you'll basically come off as an expert, even if you don't feel like you are. Web design is another one. Even if you're not a graphic designer yourself, it doesn't matter, because again, you can outsource that stuff. You can go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and find lots of guys that make all sorts of different kinds of web designs and stuff like that. Some are as cheap as like $5 a page or so. And there's of course other outsourced sites that you can go to as well. Like there's freelance.com and outsource and a whole bunch of sites. I mean, if you just search for freelance site in Google, you'll find a bunch of them right there. Or if you search any marketing or web design forum or message board, you'll find a lot of guys there. Or just search even on Facebook. There's actual web designer groups out there where if you basically offered up essentially a task for quotes, you would probably get a lot of takers there. So it's not hard to find a lot of guys that can do that work, where you obviously just charge more than what your actual raw cost would be right there. And you don't have to go out and sell this on the front end. That can also be a very good upsell. So it's not like you have to sell all these on the front end. They can each be like upsells or basically back end offers that you do as well. You can also sell Facebook fan pages as well, or YouTube channels, or stuff like that, where you can find guys on Fiverr that will make literally a custom fan page. They'll do the graphics and all that for $5. A business out there, if you were to basically do that for $100, they would probably think you're dirt cheap. If you did it for $500, they would still think, hey, this is probably a very good deal right here. Videos the same way, and again, you can make some with Video Firestorm inside of Webfire. You can also get some fancy ones made on Fiverr as well, where that's another thing where, again, the average business might think that a video might cost anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars, even for a fairly short one, just because they don't know any better. They don't know the prices that you can get. So you can charge substantially more than the time it would take you or the cost it would take you to outsource that. And of course, there's a ton of other ones as well. This is just a short list right here. So don't feel like these are the only things that you can sell. Now, the basics, and this is the basics, so don't overthink this. I'll go over this really, really quick, and then we'll jump on into the hands-on demo of basically starting from scratch on what you can do and say. So first, you want to analyze their business or site in a simple, dumbed-down way. So you want to find, who your best prospects are. You want to analyze the businesses and pick the ones that you think you could help the most. If there's a site that's ranked #1 on Google for several search terms, it's probably a lot more tough to kind of sell that guy SEO if he's already ranking really well for all that right there. In fact, you still can in some cases, but it's a tougher thing to basically do. Whereas if there's a guy who's ranked, at the bottom of page 1 or on page 2 or 3 or not ranked at all, and you see that, hey, I could really help this guy because it looks like he doesn't have the keywords he's trying to rank for in his title tag. He doesn't even like mention the local area that he's trying to rank in. He doesn't have a schema or stuff like that. You can sit back and say, hey, gee, I can really help this guy. I can bring this guy a lot of value. So that would be a good prospect right there. An even better one might be one that's not ranked well, like might be on page 2 or 3, but is doing paid advertising on the front page. So you might notice they're paying for ads on Google, but they're not ranked on page 1. So that tells you what? That A, they're not ranked well, so they're missing out on a lot of free traffic, and B, they're willing to pay for advertising. So they're willing to pay to get results, which means they're probably more likely to be willing to pay you. And that's a good thing right there. And the sales pitch is even easier then, because if you see that they're paying for stuff, you can mention that, hey, not only can you get more traffic, you can save money as well, because I see that you're paying for traffic from this keyword that you could be getting free traffic from. Then you want to find a good contact to reach out to for free analysis or report. This can be an email address, it can be a phone, it can even be a physical address, it can be on Facebook. All those are fine. Whichever one you're most comfortable doing is fine right there. Obviously, if you're not like a phone guy, then you wouldn't want to probably call the business if that's not basically your specialty. You could just do email or message on Facebook or whatever you want right there. Then you just want to make an unbeatable offer without basically any or much pressure. So you don't want to say, hey, I'll give you a free analysis after we have like, a 1-hour consultation, yada yada. People don't like talking to sales guys. Even if you're an awesome buyer, like there's been a lot of times that, I'll be in the market to buy something, but I'll hate talking to sales guys. I absolutely hate it. So I'll like purposely try to avoid them. Even sometimes they'll probably miss out on a sale because the only way to find out information is to talk to like a sales guy. And that's a lot of pressure, and you don't want to make them have a big commitment in this case. And what I mean by this is instead, why not just basically offer up a free analysis right off the bat, like a quick one where they don't even have to write back to you. And it takes you like a few extra minutes. But again, if you were to do this for basically 20 of these places, you could get those out in 1 to 2 hours tops. I mean, realistically, probably within an hour, if not less, for basically 20. So yeah, like only a few minutes a piece. And even if 19 out of 20 turn you down, that's okay. Or if 19 out of 20 never even respond back, that's okay. Because if you get one sale, if it's worth hundreds to $1,000 a month or more, it doesn't matter that, yeah, a few guys you wasted some time on and it never turned into a sale right there. But if you have some kind of unbeatable offer, especially like a free offer or a risk-free one, that can go a very, very long way. I'll talk a bit more about that in just a bit. Then after you have an offer like that where you help them basically point out the stuff that's wrong, tell them how to fix it, you want to then offer to fix their issues for them with a risk-free deal. For instance, on the SEO side, it could be, hey, I promise that you'll get ranked to page 1 of Google for at least one of these 3 search terms right here. And if I don't get you ranked within 1 month to a 1, they don't owe you a penny, or you'll refund their entire purchase right there, or you'll work for an extra month free, or whatever you want right there. But keep in mind, the better the guarantee, the more likely you are to get buyers. The crappier the guarantee, the less likely you are to sound basically confident in yourself, and the less likely you are to make those sales. And keep in mind, the work that you have to do in a lot of these cases, you can do the actual work in like 15 minutes. It's not tough. And we'll go through what you can do there in just a bit. Then after that, upsell them into more of their needs. And you can find out what their needs are by just asking and by just being observant. Like, let's say you notice that they don't rank well and they don't appear to have a Facebook fan page. Well, guess what? Say, hey, do you have a Facebook fan page? I didn't see one, but just want to double check. If not, it can be a great way to not only help your rankings, but to get extra exposure. And we have a special deal on right now where you can tack on that for X amount of money. Where it's an easy upsell, an easy offer, or just basically ask them, are there any other needs that you have, like this, or that, like social media management, like Facebook ad management, video creation, SEO, anything like that, paid ads, anything like that. You'll find that oftentimes guys might say, well, gee, I don't need this or that, but I could really use help on this right here. So just by basically asking what their needs are after you kind of got your foot in the door can lead to a lot more. So now let's pause the screen for a second as we kind of show this off in action right here and what you can do. So just going to pause this for a second and switch screens over right here. Okay. And here we go. All right, so if you're brand new and you want to start off from scratch right here, one of the first things you can do is go to Google. And let's say you want to target prospects. You want to first basically target ones that you think are more likely to be able to afford more and are more likely where a single sale could be worth a lot more money. And there's literally, guys, there's thousands and thousands of business types that have basically clients that are worth a lot of money. Like, a shoe repair shop might not be your best bet because, they might only charge, 10 or 20 bucks per, client right there. And if you're in a local small area, it's kind of hard to charge $1,000 for something like that. But let's say anything like a dentist, a plastic surgeon, a lawyer, a chiropractor, a roofer, a contractor, car sales places. I mean, anything like that. And again, that's just off the top of my head. I mean, if I sat down, I could probably list off a few dozen easily within 5 to 10 minutes of thinking. But off the top of my head, let's do plastic surgeon for this one right here. So, the thought is there is that, one sale can range from probably, several $100s up to tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, even people that go for something like, let's say they do something as simple as, let's say a chemical peel or Botox or something like that isn't necessarily thousands of dollars up front. It might be, a couple $100s up front, but, or more. Oftentimes a lot of people that don't just go for one, they come back over and over and over and over again. So over time, even the smaller sales could be worth thousands of dollars. But if they're going for a major thing, you could be talking thousands to even tens of thousands of dollars, where all of a sudden, in the mindset of your prospect, if they get, 1 or 2 sales extra a year, they're making a big profit off you. And then they think, well, gee, if I make 1 extra sale a month, I'm making a huge ROI on that right there. So it's kind of like a no-brainer deal. So let's start with that. So what we could do is we could type in plastic. Oh, let me just click right here first. Plastic surgeon, and we'll do Madison, Wisconsin. Now you can do any city, any place that you want. And you can get an idea. Right here it'll have a bunch of different search terms and stuff show up right there if you're not sure of what to search for first. But I just did this because it was the first thing that came to my mind. And again, you can search. It doesn't have to be in a big city. It could be a small one. That doesn't have to be local to you. And anytime you do a city, know that there's typically several other towns or suburbs outside of it that you can also check as well, especially in the larger ones where, if you're in New York or Chicago or Atlanta or stuff like that, or Los Angeles, there's lots of like suburbs and stuff out there that you know, are good to actually check too. You don't just have to target the big places right there. So I just did Madison, Wisconsin right here. You do a search, and then what you want to do is initially, if I'm selling, like let's say my target is to sell an SEO service here, okay? I'd want to skip the paid ads to start with, the ones that basically say ad. And then what I want to do is there's basically two things that you can do. First, you can kind of see what does the competition look like, and by that, it can be, you know, how many of these sites actually target the keyword in their title. And it doesn't look like a lot of them actually do. So that's, you know, pretty interesting right there. Like they contain the keywords, but not side by side. And what you want to usually do is you want to target a place usually towards the bottom of page 1 or page 2 or 3. So I actually ahead of time I picked one right here. So I picked on page 2. I picked this guy right here, Lemke Facial Surgery. And what you want to do when you pick a prospect, you want to especially pick one that you think right off the bat you spot a problem. Now, let me ask you guys a question. If they're trying to rank for plastic surgeon, Madison, Wisconsin, you tell me right off the bat what's wrong with this guy right here. Let's see if you guys can get this right. What is wrong with this guy right off the bat that I could probably do a fix in like a minute and help? Any guesses, guys? All right. All right. Looks like B Pews and Joel and Greg and Dave and Lori. So it looks like you all got it right. Mary, yes, it's on a second page, but there's a reason why. So the reason why right here, he doesn't use the keyword that they're trying to target in their title tag or even in the description. He doesn't even have a description, it looks like, right here. It looks like it's like a default stuff right here. So, you know, right now, he would probably do an awesome job of ranking for the keyword Lemke Facial Surgery. But guess what? If you already know that Lemke Facial Surgery exists, you probably don't need to even rank for it. You know, if you don't know a plastic surgeon out there, you're probably doing a search term like plastic surgeon, Madison, Wisconsin, or plastic surgery, Madison, Wisconsin, or some search term like maybe there's like a certain kind of plastic surgery like Botox treatment, Madison, or, you know, maybe chemical peel, you know, or some kind of term like that right there. You know, he wouldn't rank well for any of those because, again, he's just basically targeting his business name. But he's on page 2, so it tells you basically Google's paying attention. They're basically giving like a little love, but not much because he doesn't really target the stuff well. So right off the bat, man, here's a guy that I could help. With one simple fix, with a 1-minute fix, I could probably get him on page 1 within like a week or less with a 1-minute fix right there. So that's a good prospect right there because I can bring him tremendous value without really taking a ton of time, but to him that value could be absolutely huge. So if we click on that, we go to his site right here. And even though this isn't the best of sites, guys, like one, you know, he has a giant picture like what a lot of people do, but, you know, right off the bat, it doesn't really say what he's about, what the benefits are. It just basically takes up a bunch of screen that says want flawless skin for summer. So again, not a big fan of the site, and that's why like general consulting and stuff like that isn't always all that hard, because if you've listened to like our website analysis calls like we've done that, I think in last month we've done 2, you know, you'll get a general idea just watching those, what we basically pick on sites, and you can be an expert just by watching those and basically picking on similar things. Like even right here, their special email only offers, you know, it doesn't even look like an opt-in. You have to like probably click here to go to that right there. I mean, tons of stuff wrong that just doesn't look good. But right off the bat, we know that their title tag and their title description is not all that good. If we also go to, like, let's say we go to services, and it looks like they do all this stuff right here. I don't even know what most of the stuff is. But let's say, let's click on the Botox one. What you'll find here is that, right here, they do a good job of talking about Botox and Zeomine, which I assume is some brand name of Botox or like an alternative. Looks like it's an alternative here. But again, doesn't really talk about Madison or the locations that they're in. So this, it looks like they're trying to, target those keywords, and in their title tag, it would say such as too. I actually checked this ahead of time, and the title tag that they have is Botox, Cosmetic, and Zeomine dash Lemsky facial surgery. And it's like, again, no mention of Madison, no mention of anything like that. So if someone was trying to search for a term like, Botox treatment, Madison, Wisconsin, this site, wouldn't have that good of a chance of ranking. They have somewhat of a chance, but with like a few easy tweaks of changing the title tags. And all of these pages that they have, you could change the title tags of. And there's a tool inside of Webfire where you can literally change the tags within minutes, okay? So it will show you all the pages that they have. You literally can change the title tags right there, if you have their FTP, which you'd have to get from them, but you can make that change like easy peasy right there on the spot and not have to worry about any of that. And just that alone would give these guys a very good chance of ranking well. And what you could do too is, let's go inside Webfire right here. In this case, I ran a website analysis on them right here, and I basically typed in the keyword plastic surgeon, Madison, Wisconsin, and then obviously their website right here. And we see that it's not really terribly optimized. It's like 60%. You want to be at basically 80% plus. And it says right here, they have an excellent chance of ranking for this keyword if they target it, but they don't target it well, so that's why they're not ranking well. That's why they're on page 2 and not 1, because it says, hey, look, they don't have the keyword anywhere in their title, and they don't even have a description. So not only is the keyword not in their description, they don't even have one at all, and they don't mention it anywhere on their site. They have a sitemap, which is good, I guess, but they don't have a schema, and a schema is what will get them to show up like right here and stuff. Like that's usually through the use of a schema right there. And that's one thing too, that you're like, hey, you don't have a schema. You've probably noticed sites that show up, on the front page of Google that have like their numbers and stuff and the directions and all that right there. That's through the use of a schema. You don't use those. So instantly it gets them kind of interested in learning what you can do to basically help them right there. So right off the bat, you don't necessarily need to run an actual analysis. It can help, but in this case, like right off the bat, I know, hey, their title tags alone, if you change those, I could help them. But if you run the analysis, it can give you more of like basically a breakdown. And then what you want to do from there is you could see maybe like what else or what other opportunities there are for them to rank for. Like right here, what you want to do, if you're looking for a local term, I find it sometimes best just to basically type in a handful by hand. So instead of finding 50 related terms, I'll just click basically the second option right here, where I could enter multiple keywords, separate them by a comma. I just did 4 right here for basically the sake of the demo. I recommend basically going for at least like 10 or so. But we see right here, when I look at like Madison and Middleton, the competition's like nothing. I know a handful of you are saying, wait, the competition can't really be 0 there. All right? I'm sure a couple of you are asking. It looks like a couple of you are saying, no, it can't be like that. Well, let's check. So for the keyword plastic surgeon, Madison, Wisconsin, there's a trick that we use where if there's less than 3 sites truly competing over that keyword on page 1, it means you have an almost guaranteed chance of ranking if you target that in your title. So let's go to find, and let's search right here for that. So it says we found 2 matches for that exact phrase. One's at the very top, which is basically my search, and one's searches related to it right there. So none of the sites have that keyword combo on them. So that's how wide open this is right here. Even if we, let's say, eliminate that, there's still plastic surgeon Madison, only 2. Okay, not terribly tough to break into. So, and those 2 again are the search phrase that I had, and the related things right here. So there's actually 0 of these sites contain that phrase. So if we use that phrase in the title, that means we have an almost guaranteed chance of being on page 1, which again is a tremendous value that we can do for these guys right here. So again, that can help them a great deal, and this gives them basically an opportunity to see what other stuff they have out there. Like right here, and this is one thing that I want to point out too. So, so you see right here, you know, the search volume isn't all that high. Like there's 320 exact searches a month, but with a broad over 6,000. So people that basically type in this phrase followed by or preceded by some other word, over 6,000 a month right there. So that's a decent amount for that term right there. Keep in mind it's a local, smaller city. So again, and each of those could be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars a piece. Now, I also want to point out right here, a couple of these has showing up as 0. You can usually ignore those. So reason why, especially for like, this is basically like a smaller town outside of basically Madison, what is found is that well over half of the keywords that basically Google will track, they won't actually report the search volume on because it's too small. So if it's less than like usually a couple hundred or so, they often don't even show that. So even though it says 0, just know, hey, it doesn't truly mean 0. It means it's a small amount. And we'll actually, I actually just talked to them about how we should probably change the language of that to say, you know, probably less than 100 or so. But keep in mind that doesn't truly matter, because if you got ranked for only like a term that got 100 searches a month, where each prospect could be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars, and they're looking for someone in your local area, if you're a local business in this case, you want to be there. And you could be ranked for dozens of these terms out there. Like we had a client in a tennis shop here that we actually got them ranked for over 36 terms where they were #1 on page 1 from previously being nowhere, even on page 1, 2, or 3, just by basically targeting all sorts of different kinds of keywords. And keep in mind, you don't want to just target like the main ones. Like don't just do plastic surgeon Madison, Wisconsin, or plastic surgeon Middleton, and all those. You want to also search for, hey, what about all the services that they sell, like the Botox, the peels, the IPL, all those, like the dermal fillers. All those are ones that you can basically target each of those on separate pages, or and basically target the title tags differently on each one. They have a chance to rank in each one. So if someone's specifically looking for a dermal filler, which I don't know offhand quite what that is, but if they were, they might do a search like dermal fillers Madison or some term like that. And if you had that page having that title tag in it, you'll have a very good chance of ranking that page individually. So you might have dozens of rankings for a single client. And again, what you can do is you can use the Take Maker tool inside of Webfire to change the takes around, where again, you can do like an entire site with like, let's say, a dozen pages. You could do that in, I mean, if you knew what you were doing and you were fast, you could do it in like 5 to 10 minutes. If it's your first time through and you've read the instructions, you could do it in like a half hour pretty easily. And that's giving yourself a lot of time there. But again, that's a tremendous value that you could give these guys right there. And you can also then, if you want just to check, you can go to the rankings or the rank tool, I should say. So under SEO and keywords, you'd click on rank. Whereas previously I showed off the analysis tool and the keywords tool right here. This is the rank tool right here. You could basically type in the website in question and just as many keywords as you want to basically check. I just did like, I did like 4 or 5 or so. well, okay, I lied, I did 6. So I have 6 of them right here. And now again, you'd want to have like basically a dozen or more to start with. I just did 6 for basically the sake of this right here. And green means that they're on page 1 on at least one of these sites. So right here, he's at the very bottom of page 1 on Google for dermal fillers, Madison, Wisconsin. Probably just by random chance, because I'm guessing a lot of sites probably don't even mention that. But we see for a lot of the main ones, he's not ranked anywhere on page 1. I mean, he's ranked on page 2 on some of these right here. He's not ranked at all for Botox treatment, Madison, Wisconsin, which is one of the services that he has right there. So this is the information that you can pass on to the prospect and say, hey, I quickly checked to see what your rankings were, and you're not on page 1 for this, or this. The only one that you're on page 1 for, which is at the very bottom, is dermal fillers, Madison, Wisconsin. And here's why. It's because you're not really doing a good job of targeting those keywords on your sites or in your title takes and such, and yada yada. And if you need help in doing that, we have a service that can do all that, where I'll make the changes for you. And if you don't get ranked for at least X amount of these within one a month, you don't owe a penny. That's an unbeatable offer right there. And again, we're talking like a half hour of your time right here, like minimal risk right there. And it's a client that I know if I spend a half hour on, I could get that guy easily ranked. I could help him out a ton, or her, or I'm not quite sure who the owner is, but you could help them out an absolute ton right there. And of course, that's just on the SEO side. You can also search for them on Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, in this case, I type in their business name right here, Lemke Facial Surgery, and I see a page right here, and it looks like that probably would be them. That's their website right there. Click that, and we see they have a Facebook page. So that's great. Now, if they don't have a Facebook page, that's another thing that you could offer them. But right here, they have a Facebook page, so that tells me that they're at least, somewhat trying to stay on top of the game in terms of like attracting people online and stuff like that there. And there's a couple things that are important here. First, it tells you, do they have an online presence? If they do, you could do stuff like, hey, if they have a fan page, they might be more likely to be wanting to advertise on Facebook. So you could sell them possibly a Facebook ad management service. If they didn't have a fan page, you could sell them, a custom fan page. And if they have one, you could also, a big one right here is you could sell social media management. So again, we have a tool inside of Webfire under social right here, where it's Poster Fire, where you can actually manage their social media on Facebook and Twitter and such, where you can put those posts on autopilot. You can manage that all for them right there. And that's, again, the kind of thing that you can sell for hundreds of dollars a month easily. That would have a tremendous value to them, where you could help build that up. So you could not only help them get ranked, you'd help them build up their social media presence and such as well at the same time. So after you identify a prospect, okay, there's a few main ways that you can basically reach out to them. But first, you want to find some good contact info. So one of the things that you can do is on their site, you can kind of search through by hand, go to the contact us, and just look for basically an email address or any kind of like basically contact info to start with. And what's cool with this guy right here is what you'll see. He actually owns several around the Madison area. So he owns, it looks like, 4 of these. So that could, so obviously if he owns 4 clinics, he's probably making money, and you could rank him 4 different times for each of his businesses right there. But you could search usually under the contacts, or you can also search on Facebook too. So in this case, we found their fan page, and we can message them here as well. And you can also look up their Who Is info. In fact, one of the ways to do that is you can go to godaddy.com/whois, WHOIS. So again, godaddy.com/whois. And there's lots of different like Who Is lookups. Some give a little more info, some give less, but if you just search on Google, who is look up, you'll find a bunch. You type in the website in question right here, and it gives you the info. Now, sometimes we'll have the info public, sometimes it'll be essentially private, like here, it lists like a number and stuff. Here we see that the email address they have as essentially private, so it doesn't show their actual email address itself, but this would forward to them. So their actual email is hidden, but this would forward to them right there. You can also look them up on Google itself. It can oftentimes have basically their contact info and stuff there. So it depends if you want to contact them over email, phone, all that's right there. We actually have a tool for those that are like wanting to like really jump on to this, like very hardcore. We have a tool called Lead Power Machine, where you basically type in a type of business like plastic surgeon, Madison, Wisconsin, and it will find all of the business types, and it will actually give you the contact info. It will give you the email addresses. It finds all of them from multiple sources. It would give you the physical address, phones, emails, all that stuff. If they have a fan page, all that stuff, it will actually give you right there. That's more so if you're looking to kind of get like serious about it. We have a tool that can find all that info and help you email like basically a bunch of those guys at once. I'll give you a link for those that are interested in that a little bit later, but I just thought I'd mention that if you're looking to kind of do this hardcore. But again, you can do the basics by hand right here. And then what you want to do after that is you have a few options. When you reach out to these guys, there's really three main ways. There's the easiest way, and there's kind of like the middle way, and then there's a harder way, but it can get sometimes better results for only a few minutes more time. So the easiest way is to basically reach out to these guys and say, hey, I saw that your site was not ranked, or say, hey, if it's basically a local person to you, mention that, because it can make them feel a little bit better. Say, hey, I'm in the Madison area and I specialize in SEO, and I saw that you actually weren't ranked on page 1 for a handful of search terms like this, and that. And I quickly looked at your site, and it looks like you were missing stuff like, you didn't have the keywords in your title tags, you didn't have a schema, which can make your site, basically appear on the front page of Google, with a number and a map and all that stuff, and yada yada yada. If you're interested, I'd be happy to give you a complete analysis for free. You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to do any of that. You just have to write back saying that you're interested, and I'll write up a full-fledged summary for you on all the tips that could help you rank. Then say, all I ask in return is that if you're able to get ranked, that you just give me a testimonial. So it comes off as like very like you're not trying to sell anything initially. And then when they write back saying sure, you do your write-up. And then after you give them the tips and stuff, it doesn't have to be like super advanced. Like you can basically say, hey, maybe 3 of the easiest terms that you can target are this term, and that term. There's actually dozens of additional terms that you could rank that I could help you with, but these are 3 easy ones to start with. And you want to change your title tags around, and yada yada. And by the way, if you need help with that, as well as trying to target the 30-some additional terms, I have a service that can do all that for you, where I guarantee that you'll get ranked for at least X amount of those terms within a month, or you don't have to pay a penny. So most of those guys, even though you basically give them the value, you tell them everything that they have to basically do, they don't know how. They'll ask that you basically do it. And if you have an unbeatable offer, many of them will take you up on that, because again, they can't lose in a case like that. The other thing that you can do, which is a little more work, but if you're trying to reach out to, let's say, all the plastic surgeons in a certain area, or all the dentists, or anything like that, what you can do is you can do a Google search and record yourself basically talking. And there's tools like Camtasia, which I think it's like $100 or so. It basically records your screen and you can talk. I like that one a lot. But there's also a free one called Cam Studio. I don't like that as much, but you know, it is free. But basically, anything that you can basically record your own screen with and your own voice is fine. And what you do is you record yourself basically doing a search, saying, hey, you know, I saw that your site, and now keep in mind, when you say your site, you're not specifically talking about them. This is basically a general one that I could basically target everyone. You say, hey, I saw that your site was not ranked, and here's why. The sites that tend to be ranked real well, like these guys right here, they use what's called a schema. And a schema is basically certain code and info that you give to Google that helps your site show up like this. So I saw that you don't have that, and you know, I'd be happy to help you implement that. The other thing is, I see that you're not ranked on page 1, and the reason why, the guys that rank well tend to have the keywords in their title tags, which you see right here. They tend to have it in their description, and they tend to optimize their site well in such a way too, whereas yours doesn't seem to have that right there. So just these basically couple things alone could actually get you ranked probably really, really well, both on the top of Google organically, as well as on the results right here that you see. And that can actually give you a giant boost in, you know, free exposure and traffic. So that's basically the second one. It takes a little more work, but you're basically recording one video for, you know, all the plastic surgeons or all the dentists. Now, the final way, which takes even more work, is you can record the same kind of video, but have it be individual for each guy, where you show specifically their site and say, hey, I see you're on page 2. Like, look, I click here, you know, here's you, and then you basically explain the exact same thing on why other sites rank, but they don't. Say, hey, you don't have the keyword in your title tag, you don't have a description at all, just kind of basic stuff like that. You don't want to go on to the more elaborate stuff, because again, that stuff doesn't really matter a ton, and you don't want to kind of scare them off. You just want to give them like a few basic tips like that, and then make an offer saying, hey, if you'd like me to write up a full analysis of stuff that you can do, you know, for free, just write back and let me know, and I'd be happy to do that. I'm looking for more testimonials, and you know, yada yada. Or if you'd like me to do it all for you, let me know, as I have some services to help with that as well, very, very easily. So just, you know, an easy message like that. Don't overthink that. That's all you really have to do right there. So again, that's all it really is. And then once they write you back, guys, you know, again, it's just a question of making an unbeatable offer. So like if it was from like an SEO one, you know, I would basically say, hey, if you're confident that they're making, you know, a big mistake, like missing it in like a title tag, say, hey, you know, for these 3 words right here that I'll try to rank you for, if I don't get you ranked for at least one of those on page 1 within a month, you know, you don't have to pay a penny, or you'll get a 100% refund, or whatever kind of guarantee you want. The more bold the actual offer is, the more likely you are to get more sales that way, right there. Whereas if it's like, let's say you want to manage a person's Facebook ads, and you're using the automated ads software. In that case, you know, if you know that they're currently doing ads, you could basically say, hey, if I don't reduce your ad cost, you know, per, you know, buyer or sale or lead or whatever it might be, you don't owe me a penny. You know, that's the kind of offer where, you know, it's very risk-free, and to a guy where a single sale might be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's hard to pass up on that, especially when they see that, you know, you're only charging like, you know, maybe a few $100s a month up to like $1,000 a month. They'll think that you're cheap compared to a lot of guys will oftentimes say, hey, for $10,000 a month, I'll do this or I'll do that. They get a lot of those guys, and those guys don't really give them any value. They don't tell them what's wrong with their site ahead of time. They just say, your site sucks, I can help, pay me 10K and I'll fix it. That's the kind of offers that they get all the time right there. So just basically doing those few things can kind of build up basically their trust and their confidence in you, because you basically come off as the authority. And on top of that, yeah, it takes a little time to do like an basic analysis like this and reach out to guys like that. But you know, if you spend like even a portion of a day, like a portion of an afternoon, basically picking, let's say, like a dozen prospects to try to target, you can find that, you know, yeah, it might take basically a chunk to like do like an analysis for each one, or, you know, record like a quick video or anything like that. But the more, you know, personal you make it, the more likely they are to feel basically guilty if they don't at least write back, and more likely to take you up on the offer right there. So yeah, so that's how you do that. And what we'll do now is I'll actually just pause the screen as we go back, and if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to ask. And yeah, so let's see what questions you have. All right. All right, there's a question of what the link was for Lead Power Machine. Okay, so we occasionally have like a special deal on that tool right there, which basically just helps find business leads very, very quickly. And I don't want to show that off, because I didn't want this to turn into like a call on just that. But if you're interested in seeing basically a past replay of that call, you can check out basically the replay right here. Just go to getwebfire.com/LPM for Lead Power Machine, and it's a tool that will find basically all the local business leads, so you can reach out to them really fast. Gives you a lot of info on it. So if you're interested in that, you can basically check out that right there. But if you have any questions on what I was basically talking about, you can feel free to ask now. All right, let's see what I can find here. All right, so someone asked here, do they have to pay to use those keywords in their title or description? If so, how is payment made and to whom? I can tell you're overthinking. So first, if you optimize your site, or you optimize it for them, you don't have to pay Google to optimize your site. You don't have to pay Google to put a keyword in, you know, in your title tag, and you can easily do that for them. In fact, I'll show you really quick here. Let me just I forgot to actually show off one quick thing. All right, let me just pull it up. So right here, there's actually a few things you can do. So if you're changing like a title, in the analysis tool, all you have to do is click Fix right here, and it will basically open up the tag maker or the tag changer to change all that stuff for you right there. So it's super, super easy. Just click Fix right here, or next to the description right there. You can also go under SEO and keywords, and if you go down to SEO configuration, you can change all those issues on your site as well. If you want to make the schema, you just would click that right there, and it will walk you through how to do all that stuff quickly and easily right there. But as far as how to accept payment, any way you want. If you want them to pay you over PayPal, that's fine. If you want to have them pay you up front, and you have a guarantee, that's fine. If you want to have it so you ask them to pay after you do the work, that's fine. Although you have to have some level of trust. Usually, I find as long as you fulfill your end of the deal, more often than not, you're perfectly fine with that. But don't overthink that, because again, you can have them pay you any way that you want. All right. All right, and Sean, if you see any questions too, feel free to jump in. There's a lot of questions. There are a lot of prior ones. I'm trying to weed through which ones were already addressed.
Yeah, so somebody was asking, Brian, if they need to use the WebFire plugin in order to put a schema on a web page.
You don't. So you don't have here. I'll just show it off real quick. Go here. Go to schema. So a schema basically, and there's a person asking what is a schema. So for a local business, so essentially a schema would look like this, like it's kind of results you see like a big spot on Google show up right there. It's also, here I'll show off like a really good example. Here, it's also like when you see on page one, when you see stuff show up like that, that's oftentimes through the use of a schema. Or like this guy right here, where he has that big thing on the right side and several pages under it. That's through the use of a schema. So it's a great way, especially if you do a search on a mobile, they'll have like a one click to a call and stuff like that. So what you'd have to do is you just basically fill in the info right here. And then if you have an HTML site, which is basically almost everything except WordPress, you'd click Add Schema to HTML. It will give you code to paste in. And if you have WordPress, you just click that where it says Add it to basically WordPress and follow the instructions there. So super easy. All right. So yeah, you don't need the plugin. That's just to help with basically WordPress right there. How do you get our keyword finder on the web page on the left? So I think what you're asking, how do you get to keyword finder? Well, inside a WebFire, I'll show you right here. It's under, if you click SEO and keywords, it's the keyword tool right here. So I showed off the website analysis tool, which is right here, the first one. I showed off the keyword tool, which is right here. And I showed off the ranking tracker, which is called rank right here. And right now I just showed off the schema, which is just right here under schema. And to fix basically title tags and all that, you can click on the title from within the analysis, or you can just go to SEO configuration right here as well. All right. And yeah, so yeah, Camtasia sometimes like its price can change. When I got mine, it was for Mac and it was like $97. I know they sometimes charge like a few times that. I find it really easy to use, but you know, again, there's a free one called Cam Studio. But if you also search for like, you know, screen recording, you know, software or free, you know, there's a bunch of ones like that. All right. All right, so Hannah asked here, can I give her an idea of what kind of title tag I would use on that? So using the Plastic Surgeon one for the home page, you know, I might say Plastic Surgeon, Madison, Wisconsin, dash, and then list their name. Like I think it was like Lemsky Facial Surgery or whatever. But for them, the individual pages on their site, like the page that they have specifically on Botox, I would have it be a title like Botox treatment in the Madison, Wisconsin, you know, in Madison, Wisconsin, or in the Madison, Wisconsin area, or, you know, any term like that, we're using the local area term in that because it gives it a much greater chance of ranking. And then for, what was it, dermal fillers, exact same thing, like, you know, dermal fillers, you know, Madison, Wisconsin. If you want to have like basically a dash and then have the business name too, that's fine. But you want to definitely basically target the main keyword for each of those individual pages, because that gives you, like, if you have like a dozen different keywords on different like products or services and stuff that you can rank for, if you rank for half of those, you walk away a happy client. Whereas if you only try to rank for one, and for whatever reason you don't achieve that, you might walk away pissed. But if you try to get them ranked for 12, and let's say they get ranked for, you know, 3, they're happy. If they're ranked for 6, they're incredibly happy. If they're ranked for like 10 or 12 out of 12, they're insanely happy with you. And again, it's not that hard, especially for like local terms and basically easier terms like that. All right, and while I'm answering questions, you guys can also go to, so just so you can go to, so again, that's a link if you want LPM. It's just getwebfire.com/LPM. That's if you want the tool that helps find basically business leads fast. But if you want to partake in the $100 cash giveaway, you can go to getwebfire.com/FB group. Again, that's getwebfire.com/FB group. And you'll see a post from Sharon within the past hour where she's basically asking what you thought of today's call. Just leave basically a comment within that post, just one, and basically saying what you thought, and we'll pick a random winner in a couple minutes right here, because after that, I have to pick up my daughter and take her to the orthodontist, which is another great prospect that you can actually target, because they got over $7 grand out of me. So
I know, but that's because you love your daughter.
Yes. So
hey, Brian, Jeff is asking, how do you find the videos produced by the Yellow Pages?
Videos produced by the Yellow Pages. Not quite sure.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what you're asking offhand. So if you could clarify that, I'd be happy to see if I knew. All right, let's see what other questions we have.
Yeah, I think I got most of these things answered. Somebody else, while we're letting people type in comments and how brilliant Brian is, somebody asked a good question, which is, once you get the basic stuff done on a website, you take their existing website, you optimize it a bit, you hit like maybe the 80% rating level of it's been optimized, what do you do next? Which really translates to what can you do that you can charge them for next, right?
Oh yeah, sure. So once you get them optimized, and guys, a little secret of mine is 90% of the results that I can get, guys, are oftentimes as easy as changing around the title tags. So
yeah, but don't tell your clients that.
Yeah. I mean the rest of the stuff is important, but usually the title tags is a huge deal. Right there. So don't feel like you have to be 100% optimized or anything like that. Even just change around the title tags of each of the pages can help a ton. And then what you can do at that point, I mean, once you get them ranked, they're like, wow, this is awesome. You can then say, hey, there's probably several additional terms that we could get you ranked for, where, if you give me a list of all the services or products that you have each month, we can try to do some work for a few more. Plus, we can try to maintain the current rankings that you have. Now, it doesn't really take any work or not much to maintain the current rankings, but they'll happily pay if they think that you're basically watching over that, making sure that if they drop down, you maybe do a little work to help. And again, you can track their rankings inside of Webfire, so it will tell you as it goes up and down. So if it goes basically down a bit, maybe you can do a bit more work to try to help them boost that back up. But realistically, once they get ranked high, they tend to stay that high for a long time, but they'll still happily pay you each month to help maintain that and possibly do some additional rankings as well. But furthermore, don't just stop there. If they hired you to do SEO and you help them with other stuff, they probably have tons of needs, maybe make them a Facebook fan page, maybe do Facebook ad management, maybe make and rank videos on YouTube for them. So they might be ranked well on their site, but now you can make videos for instance, what is a dermal peel? Madison, Wisconsin plastic surgeon, explains what, and just have basically videos like that where they can get ranked for all those additional terms and stuff, and have even more of a chance of getting traffic. Or have a service where you sell them leads. Again, there's tools inside of Webfire where we can find guys asking questions related to what they could be selling them. If someone had their roof was hit by a tree, or they have a leak, you can target those guys off of basically the tweet lead finder and stuff like that, even on a local scale, and reach out to them quickly and easily right there and pass those leads on or reach out to those leads on their behalf for a monthly fee right there. And all the services I listed out, you can cross-sell those very quickly and easily. So you can easily go from a guy that was initially looking to spend, maybe several $100 a month upwards to, a couple thousand over time, especially for the higher end clients. And there was a question here about how do you target the right kind of prospects? And there was a person that said, there's so many businesses out there. How do I know which ones to basically target? It was the same stuff I said. Don't overthink it. There are, millions of prospects. You don't have to contact millions of them to start with. Think of which ones have basically a service or product that can make them a lot of money off of just like one or two sales, and then just do a search on Google exactly like I showed you, and look for the ones that are missing stuff like, that have a crappy title tag or stuff like that you can help with. So I already see like a few of you are overthinking it. That's why I want to show it to you right here. And there's some of you that are still overthinking it, okay? I just showed you step by step what exactly you have to do. I showed you step by step how you can pick a good prospect. Now, don't think you all have to do a plastic surgeon in Madison, okay? There are thousands and thousands and thousands of cities out there. It doesn't have to be your local one. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of different high-end, businesses and stuff out there. So again, don't overthink that right there. All right. Anything else you see, Sean? If not, I will do the giveaway in a minute here.
No, I think we're ready to roll. Let's give away money. Let everybody get to work.
So it looks like the person said here on Yellow Pages when their client or when they get a client, their big deal is they make them a video. Well, the funny part is, like, Yellow Pages used to be basically a phone book, right? And they realized pretty quickly no one really opens a phone book anymore. I don't think I've opened one in over a decade. And they've been trying to sell what? SEO services and stuff. So if they're trying to sell a video, they might be able to charge a premium, but guess what? You can make a video off of like, have a guy on Fiverr do it, use basically the video Firestorm, inside a Webfire, any way you want, and you can easily rank those and stuff. That's not hard. You can follow the exact same principles that we've laid out right here and get those ranked too and sell that. So that's another great thing that you can do right there. So I'm going to switch to the screens over here and we'll give some cash away in a minute, and then I need to head out, pick up my daughter, and go to the ortho for her. All right, so this is the page. I'll just refresh it really quick. All right, so this is a post from Sharon right here asking what you guys thought. And if you leave a comment right here, just click basically the comment button right there. We'll pick a random winner in about 10 seconds. And yeah, so I'll give you guys maybe 10 seconds or so to wrap up with the comments, and we'll pick a random winner to win $100 in a minute here. So all right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Count the ones. Sometimes it's guys that post outside of the LC just in case. Looks like a few did. A few always post outside. That's okay. All right, so I'll count the outside ones. 1, 2 are outside plus, let's see, 37, so 39 in total. And we'll go to random.org, 1 to 39, generate, 14. All right, so let's do the counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep. All right. So David Sutcliffe, if I'm saying your name right, if this is you or it looks like you and you live in Malmesbury in the UK, congratulations. You are $100 richer which by you, I'm sure would be like 70 some pounds or so. To get that, make sure that you basically message in the chat right now to just say what your PayPal email is, and Sharon will get you paid right away this afternoon on that. So again, congratulations to David Sutcliffe on being this week's $100 winner. And with that, guys, if you have any other questions that pop up or any suggestions on what you'd like to see on future calls, let us know, because we're always happy to try to like do customized like training and stuff geared towards what you guys want to learn. And if you have any other questions that pop up, you can feel free to write support@webfire.com or use the help desk inside of Webfire in the members area at the very top. Just click on the support or the help desk right there. That way, if there's ever like an email issue, you won't have to worry about that. And of course, we'll have the replay of this up by tomorrow at the latest inside the members area under the training, under the Wednesday call. It'll be at the very top there. So with that, guys, thanks much. Hope you have a great rest of the week. And Sean, is there anything else you want to say before we head out here?
No, thanks for being here. Go to work.
All right, guys, take care. See you next week again, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you then, guys. Take care. Bye.